Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's do our Sunday study group for warriors. Mind, body, and soul. This is how we get through. I'm going to go through my notes. I study every single day. I take notes on what I study. This is some of the stuff that I studied during the week. The only purpose of this video really, and when I do this on Sundays, is just to give my hardcore heads, my warriors out there, something extra to think about. You can ponder some of these things during your day as you're going through your program. So let's get down with it. Start at the back, move to the front. Here's a little bit of advice that I think some of you, a minority of you, but some of you really need this. You don't need to film everything. Put your damn phone down. Stop filming everything. Stop filming your meals. Stop filming your daily schedule. Stop filming your commute to work and your workouts and your problems, having these breakdowns, crying and yelling and ranting. Cut all that shit out. I have a friend of mine who's going through this right now. It's so inappropriate, and she's filming her breakdown of her divorce. And it started off, the video started off with her just holding a cell phone and her crying and ranting and yelling and being mad and revealing all kinds of inappropriate information, but that's what it started out as. Now these videos have evolved where she sets the camera up on a tripod, she has a backdrop that she's set up and it's professionally lit. This is like a professional video. And she goes into these long, elaborate stories of the abuse. Look, sweetheart, if you're watching, I know you're probably not because you know everything. Why would you need my channel? Stop it. Let's move on to the next one. I'm a big Alan Watts fan. Alan Watts was a philosopher in the 60s. He's been dead for a while, but he's got thousands of hours of his talks online. You can go check them out. And he said, this is something you got to philosophize on. You will not die and you were never born. Marinate on that. You will not die and you were never born. You know, some people believe that life is all a dream. This is all just a dream. Maybe it's a video game. Maybe it's just a dream, like when you dream at night. And you'll wake up at some point. Maybe your death is really just a waking up, in which case there is no death. You can take this a lot of ways. You will not die and you were never born. Maybe it means to live in the moment. We assume that our death is going to be in the future sometime. It may be in 5 minutes or it may be in 50 years, but nonetheless, that's the future. The future doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. It's a fantasy. The only thing that exists is the moment. You may have been born. I assume you were born. I was born, but that was the past. The past doesn't exist. The past is a fantasy. The past is gone. It's water under the bridge. Time is fluent. Time keeps moving forward. So maybe this is just a statement, you will not die and you were never born. Maybe it's just a statement of living in the moment. I don't know. How do you guys take that? Philosophize on that. I like to study human behavior. I was listening to a CIA agent. He says he's an ex-CIA agent. I don't think there's any such thing. I'm really serious about this. I don't think there's any such thing as an ex-CIA agent. When you work for the company, you work for the company for life. There's no quitting. There's no getting fired. There's no, oh, well, I'm going to retire now. No. It's like the mafia. They may put you on the shelf, but you're always an agent. You could be called up at any time. I believe that. I've run across several ex-CIA agents. I got one in my family. I don't believe him for a second. You're still a CIA agent and you know you are. But nonetheless, this guy's interesting and he's talking about human behavior. Andrew Bustamante, I think that's his name. He says all behavior is a reaction. That's what human behavior is. Your human behavior is just a simple reaction. You may have motivations, but your motivations, your drive is a reaction. You may have avoidances, where you avoid obstacles for your survival. That's a reaction. In fact, your very survival, all of survival, if I put you in the woods, give you a pocket knife and say, go survive, what you're doing is reacting to your environment. I just think it's interesting to ponder that stuff. Let's move on. Here's a little rhyme. You guys remember this? Some of you will vibe with this, and some of you will just look at it as a simple, stupid little rhyme. Until you handle it with grace, it will stay in your face. Here's a way to tell if you're left or right. You might already know if you're a lefty or a right-wing conservative, but here's a way to tell. What is your core value? Is your core value truth, or is it tolerance? There's a way you can tell. If you say your core value is tolerance, you're a left-wing liberal. If your core value is truth, you're a right-wing conservative. This boils down to the subjective versus the objective. And I know this will start an argument amongst you guys. But let's keep it respectful. If I find anybody getting mouthy about politics on any of my videos, you'll be deleted, blocked, banned. We'll never speak of you again. You'll be gone. Nobody cares about you. Here's a bit of advice. Your conscience. I'm not talking about all those little voices in your head, because sometimes the voice in your head is just you running your stupid mouth. Sometimes it's just like a little parrot, parroting back everything it hears and sees and observes. But behind all that chatter, the Buddhists call it the monkey mind, because they look at your mind as like a monkey jumping from branch to branch, kind of randomly. And that's how our thoughts can be. When you get behind all of the chatter, get behind the monkey mind, you have that voice in your head. That's your conscience. Tells you right and wrong, tells you what to do even if you don't want to do it. And you may hear that voice saying, and you go right forward and you're like, I'm doing it. But you heard it in your head, you heard it. You knew the whole time, and even after you fucked up, you're like, man, I even told myself this was a bad idea and I did it anyways. Your conscience is God speaking to you. Let's move on to the next one. Clothes make the man. I've talked about fashion before. We have a couple fashion videos. Clothes make the man. It may be time for some of you to up your fashion game. Now, I live at the beach. I'm flip-flops and tank tops a lot. But I do have nice clothes. It's important for a man to dress nice, to know the scenario, the situations, I should say, when you should dress up a little bit. Classy casual is a good thing to have in your closet. Get very familiar with the classy casual look. If you notice in old movies, which I would love to watch old black and white movies at Turner Network. All the men dress nice. There was a certain connection between masculinity and being classy, dressing a little bit nice. A child dresses in casual clothes all the time. A bum, a loser, somebody who's going nowhere and doing nothing, somebody without authority. They dress down. Your boss, maybe not nowadays, but typically in the past, your boss was dressing nice. Your boss, the manager, shows up dressing nice. You get off the factory floor, you take off those boots, but as soon as you get up into the office, you're dressing nice. They had the brown shirts and blue shirts was how a lot of factories used to run. The brown shirts were out in the field or out on the factory floor, and as soon as you got up in the office, you wore a blue shirt with a tie. But learn to dress up a little bit. Let's go to the next one. Let's talk a little bit about utopia. I've studied utopia a lot. I'm fascinated with the idea of utopia. There's no such thing as utopia, and there never has been any such thing as utopia. You don't believe me? Name one. Name a utopia. One that's ever existed, ever. With the Garden of Eden. And we're all trying to recreate heaven on earth. Is that what utopia is? It's heaven on earth? Where there's no death, there's no disease, there's no sickness, there's no danger, there's no arguments, there's no division, we're all the same. That shit's a fantasy. Utopia is like a weird dictatorship, a weird hippie commune. Every hippie commune that's ever existed falls apart. Trust me, I know. My parents were hippies. I didn't make this name up. When I lived in Hollywood, people would ask me, how did you get your name? As if like my acting coach gave it to me. My stupid drug addict parents gave me this name. Utopia is impossible, and here's why. We have self-preservation. Self-preservation goes against the whole notion, the philosophy of utopia. So if utopia is about helping your fellow man, kind of no matter what, well, society's never been like that because we are born with self-preservation. We're a human animal, and animals have a sense of self-preservation. So that goes against your little communal bullshit. It's every man for himself. Only the strong survive. Go watch a nature show. There are no utopias. You know, it's usually, I don't want to harp on this topic for too long, but it's usually you atheists. Not the agnostics, not the open-minded, I don't know. It's the atheists who have their middle finger to God. You're searching, desperately searching for utopia. Isn't that weird? Let's move on to the next one. Here's a question for you. Why does the left, progressives, why do progressives celebrate broken men? Go look at TVs, movies, commercials, cartoons, game shows, YouTube videos, advertisements in magazines. Why are broken men being celebrated and strong men are being erased? Strong men are looked at as racists, looked at as oppressors. Here's another question for you. Let's go to the next one. Why are celebrities all so fucked up, man? Jesus Christ. They're all so crazy and weird. I lived in Hollywood. I fraternized with a few celebrities, and they're all weirdos. They're all immature, bunch of overgrown children, see the world in this fucked up way. Talk about a fucked up worldview. Many of them are filthy rich and they don't seem to know how to spend their money. Look, I grew up at the bottom. I was born homeless. I went homeless again when I was 18. I lived in the ghetto until my mid-30s. Money helps, motherfucker. Psychiatry costs money. Mental health costs money. Shopping at Whole Foods and getting all that good nutrition that you want, that costs money. And these celebrities got it. They got all the money in the world. You get a guy like Robin Williams, he kills himself, go to a therapist. You can afford to just go live in Tahiti. You can do anything you want. Oh, you're suffering from your mental illness all day with a gun in your mouth? There's help out there for you and you can afford it. Money's nothing to you people, and you're the most fucked up people in our society, you celebrities. Do not idolize celebrities. Do not idol worship them. You don't want to be with them. You don't want Taylor Swift as your girlfriend. Oh my God, she will dump you. She's a black widow. She will eat you alive. Stop fantasizing about her, you idiots. I have a buddy of mine who loves her. It's so weird. Here's a list. Let's end it with a list. Get out your pen and paper. What is a spiritual worldview? I believe a spiritual worldview is the proper worldview for a warrior. So let's go over this real quickly. A spiritual worldview is one that is open. You're open-minded. You're open to things. A spiritual worldview is one that is loving. A spiritual worldview is one that is sharing. A spiritual worldview is one that is charitable. A spiritual worldview is one that is protecting. You're a protector. A spiritual worldview is one that is uplifting. You uplift those around you. You're positive. A spiritual worldview is one that is disciplined. You are disciplined. You create structure and order in your life, and you do that also for your family. Discipline also extends to keeping your family in line. Discipline your family. A spiritual worldview includes being polite, respectful, and courteous. A spiritual worldview, finally, on my list here, includes the Buddha nature. That's a childlike nature. It doesn't mean you're stupid and naive. It means that you can laugh at the world, have fun. The world is play. The world is a game. Act in accordance with your worldview every single day. Food for thought.